Hey folks, Ryan here from Mr. House Gaming Rants and Reviews, and I've got a different style of rant for you tonight. I've got a top 10 video. I'm going to be giving you the top 10 games that don't have big box versions, but I think need a big box version. Definitely if they had a big box version, I would be the first one in line to purchase it because I'm a big fan of big box versions and what they have to offer. Other people are fans of big box versions. Let's get down to it. But before we get into the top 10 list, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the videos that I am creating. Hit the notification bell so that you get notified when the new videos are releasing. And at any time, please leave a comment in the description of this video if you are agreeing or disagreeing with anything that I'm saying, big box game related. So let's get into it. Where did I come up with this idea? Well, I came up with this idea because there have been a lot of big box versions of games that have come out recently, and I have bought a few of them. One of them was the Terra Mystica big box, where you got the base game of Terra Mystica, you got all of the expansion contents, the promo content, and it was all housed in a slightly bigger box than what it currently in. Had a nice little insert for it, everything all in one place, and for a great price too. One that I just ordered online recently is the Ultimate Railroads, which is the kind of the big box version of Russian Railroads that has all of its expansion content and even actually including a new expansion material inside of that one. I also own lots of the other big box versions. I've got the Anachrony Infinity box right behind me there. I've got the Terraforming Mars big box with the miniatures and stuff like that. I own a few of the Queen's Games big box versions of games. I have the Alhambra mega box. I've got the Fresco mega box. I've got the Merlin big box, all coming with all of their expansion content. There are so many of them, and it just seems to be a popular thing to do. I even put, I'm just going to switch my screen over here. I even put a poll out on Twitter here asking, hey, big box editions of games, the ones that contain all the expansions and promos with storage in one place. I want to hear your opinions, yay or nay. 4-1. 37 people voted here. 4-1 options say yay, I want the big boxes, to the nay, you know what, maybe just I'll skip the big box version of a game, which is not a, well, okay, so it is a very small number, but no, enough people that engage with my material that took time to vote for that. And so that is almost 80% of those 37 people are saying, you know what, big box versions are pretty cool. And if I kind of scroll down, there were some comments here. Said Brian Chandler here says, love it as an option, especially as a latecomer to some games, so I know I can just get everything in one go, and I completely 100% agree with that. One thing that I've even come to realize that I do sometimes is that they'll come out with the big box version of the game, everything, and I may already own everything, but I always kind of say, you know what, I might be crazy, but I'll sell off the game in its individual pieces just so that I can get the big box version all in one plate. I don't know if anybody else does that. Leave a comment in this video. Do you also, if a big box version of a game comes out, do you sell off your old version just so that you can get the new version, even if you already have all the content? Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm just a wild consumer here. Mark G here said, great until they add another expansion. Grrr. I also wish the big box was actually a smaller box. And I said, great point here. Definitely on the, you know what, these big box versions usually exist for a reason. I don't think they're adding new content to the game. It is that this game has been out for a while now. They are kind of done creating the new content, and they're going to put all of their content into one single place. So I really hope that would be a really jerk move if they actually decided, come out with a big box version and then start releasing some more content down the road that doesn't fit inside your nice big box. That would be a very aggravating thing, and I wish they were in a smaller box. They have the term big box for a reason, because usually the companies are trying to stuff a lot of content into that one that one space. Now the Terra Mystica insert box did this quite well. The box is not that much bigger than the original Terra Mystica box, but the way that they organized all the material inside was the key piece. So maybe a lot of publishers can take note on that piece. Mostly yay. This is in the nap of time. Mostly yay, but I'm less enthusiastic about it when they also add tons of cosmetic stuff. Gameplay big boxes are great though. 100% on that one. My only other one that I kind of, went with the cosmetic upgrade was my Terraforming Mars big box. I really enjoyed the miniature land styles that they came up with for that game. That's the only one that I said, yeah, I think that one was justified. But yes, I am a big fan of just the boxes that give you all of the game stuff in one spot. I don't really need all of that fancy upgraded things. Yay, but only if that is everything and there is no more content planned. Absolutely, Steve here. So let's get into, now I've come up with a list here of 10 games that, for what I can gather, they do not have a big box version for them, and there has been no big box version planned for the immediate future. And yeah, so with that, what else was I going to say here? There's a couple games that have been recently announced that are not on this list that probably would have made my list if they weren't already announced. Village has been announced that it's getting a big box treatment. That would have definitely made this list, but that one has been announced. It is going to be coming out. It is going to be released. And then, of course, I also did a rant about the Agricola big box that is going to be coming out soon, and I had some thoughts about that because it kind of went against my thing that they weren't throwing in all of the stuff inside of that one purchase. But I made a video about that you can go and watch at a much later time. Okay, so how did I come up with my list here? So I made sure that the games had been out for a while, and I don't think that there's going to be new content. If there is going to be new content, then the big box version should come out quite a bit later. But for most of these games here, I believe they're old enough that not new content is going to be coming into the market, and therefore a big box would be justified. All of these games have multiple expansions, at minimum 2 expansions that have been released for each of these games. And most of these games have lots of promotional material that has been released throughout the years that would also be great candidates to put into a big box version for somebody that just wants to finally get everything. Okay, I think I clarified that, what I'm going to be looking for. So these are 10 games. Don't currently have a big box in planning or has been announced or anything like that, but I think that these 10 games should definitely have a big box version for that. And the first one that I am going to talk about is a little game called Cacao. Now, Cacao is a fantastic game by Phil Walker Harding. It's a very simple tile laying game. It works well at multiple player counts. I actually just picked up the base game. It was on sale at one of my local game stores here for a ridiculously low price that I just had to nab it because I've had a lot of fun with this game. And this would be a great addition because there has been expansion content. I'm going to click on the expansions link over here. There has been expansion content, but it also has tons of promo materials. So there we go. So Dynamite, and then like new huts. There's been some those board gaming advent calendars. Chocolat has been another. Those are 2 of the big expansions that add a lot more. But then there's just been a whole bunch of just little things that have been planned along the way here, volcanoes and whatnot. I think this would be a great candidate for a big box edition. And you know what? It wouldn't be a great gigantic box. It would actually probably be very similar to the size of the box that it already is right now. I bet you that with a good enough insert that they would be able to cram all of the tiles that you need to play this game into one organized place. So, number 10 here is I will be voting for Cacao to have the big box treatment. I know I have the base game, but if they announced one that was coming out, I would be all over this one. This would be really, really good because I think that they say that these 2 expansions do kind of add enough to make the games even more variable than the already awesome base game. So Cacao, number 10. Okay, my number 9 is going to be Teotihuacan. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad at pronouncing. Teotihuacan, the City of Gods. Now, this is a Daniel Tassini game, and it is being currently published by Board and Dice. And this is a fantastic worker placement style game where the workers are your dice, but you're not rolling your dice. You're using your dice as your villagers here, and they kind of just gain more knowledge. You increase the pip values, and therefore that person's more knowledgeable. And the more knowledgeable the person, the better the actions you can get. The more dice you have on a certain spot can activate bigger actions, and it's a big old rondel with a nice pyramid being built in the middle and points being scored left, right, and center. Combo-tastic. All left, right, and center on this one. It is a fantastic style game, and they have been releasing content for this one quite regularly. There's been some loot boxes and everything like that. They just had expansion period. They had there's a little promo bundle, I guess, right now. They had Shadow of Zittle. They had the Man versus Meeple stuff, and then there is been the late pre-classic period. There's been 3 bigger expansions that have added a ton of content to this game. Also, with all of these promos and whatnots that have been going along here, Teotihuacan would be a great one because trying to actually fit all of the current stuff inside of the box, it is a very, very tight fit. I even have the folded space third-party insert in there, and they jam this thing full packed. Now, I don't know if they're completely done releasing material, but I believe that this is a great complete game with all of the released material so far, and it all adds tremendous value and tremendous amount of gameplay to an already great game. Teotihuacan gets my next vote that needs a big box treatment, and oh my gosh, what they could possibly do with the aesthetic of that big box. And it doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't have to be much bigger than what already exists because we can already fit all of this material in there, but it maybe just need a little bit more room and a better functional insert. Like, again, that folded space one is a fantastic, but I think Teotihuacan could get a fantastic big box treatment, and I would definitely go for it again. I would definitely go for it. All right, my number, what was that? 9. That was 9. The number 8 would be Spirit Island. Would give me, I would believe, would be a good candidate for the big box treatment. It has already released lots of expansion material. Just recently, Feather and Flame. There has been some promo boards. The Jagged Earth big box expansion that was almost just as big as the original base game. We got some promo packs there. Branch and Claw. And then they've also released like upgraded components and stuff like that. Like you can throw all of that inside of the box. It'd be great. Yeah. And I don't know if they're done. I don't think that they are done with the Spirit Island Jagged Earth or even Feather and Flame here. I believe that they are going to have more content, and I guess whenever they decide that they have completed whatever they're trying to the story they're trying to tell with Spirit Island, this one would definitely warrant a nice big box edition, a nice fancy edition, get all those upgraded components that they've released along the way, everything thrown into one big massive box edition. It is one of the great games on BGG right now. Its overall ranked is 10. There's a lot of love for this game, and I would definitely think that if a big box edition came out for Spirit Island, a lot of people would gravitate towards this, especially if it had a really great insert for the setup and the takedown of this game. So Spirit Island gets my number. That's my number 8. Okay, my number 7 is going to be Ghost Stories. Now, Ghost Stories already is a bit of an older title. It was originally released back here in 2008, and it received lots of expansion material. There was, oh gosh, what was it here? The White Moon scenario. No, Black Secret, and oh gosh, a lot of promo ghosts and characters and whatnot. White Moon and Black Secret were the two bigger expansions, but then there was all of this promo stuff and everything. A lot of card hunting that needed to go down here in the Guardhouse expansion. Ghost Stories has been notoriously known for its difficulty as a cooperative game where people have played it dozens upon dozens of times with only maybe a handful of successes. It's got a really cool system of action selection and trying to keep the ghosts at bay. The ghosts are kind of attacking your little monastery or the temple as the game board. And there's just a lot of stuff that I would be very intrigued. I think this would be a great candidate for the big box treatment, especially if it has those two bigger expansions that are hard to find, that just add to that extra variability to the game. It has a ton of that promo content that I think would definitely warrant, and there would be, I guess, again, because the art style in this game is super awesome, that they could do a really nice aesthetic for this box. So Ghost Stories, that's going to get my number 7. My number 6 is one of my favorite games of all time. I already own everything there is to this game, but if they came out with a big box edition, I'm getting rid of all of it, and I'm getting this, whatever it is, and that is Clank. Clank is one of those games that I've just instantly fell in love with. It's part of the deck building genre of games where you have your starting deck of cards and you slowly add to it to get more powerful actions. And it's got the board aspect where you're kind of going into the dungeon to find the treasures and trying to grab a treasure and get out before the dragon attacks you, or you die, or somebody else gets out and the timer runs out on you. There's a lot to love about Clank, and it has, oh my goodness gracious, it's got a good amount of content that I can't fit into its base box. Because there are promos upon promos. There is the adventuring party expansions that adds more characters. There are expansion boards that they have released, and that is what's taking up a lot of the spaces, that they have released these expansion boards like the Temple of the Apes Lords. There has been the Gold and Silk expansion. There's been the Mummy's Curse expansion. There has been and look at all the promos that they've released over the course of this game. And then the Sunken Treasures expansion. Oh my goodness. I don't know if they're done releasing content for the base game of Clank here, but look at all these things that they could throw into, and I think there would be a lot of very happy customers if I could get all of those expansions and all of these promo materials in one spot, and I had something that I could store all those boards into. This thing, I think, would sell like hotcakes. I really do. It is a much beloved game of all time. It is just a ton of fun, and you just add to all of that variability by just having all of that stuff all at once. So I am voting for Clank. Okay, number, what was that? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 5. Yeah, 5. Seasons, which again is a bit of an older game, and I know definitely they're not releasing new material for this game at all, just because they just had a couple reprints of some of their expansion things that flew off the shelves like hotcakes. But Seasons is a card playing style game where the main mechanism is that you are going to be drafting cards and you're going to be playing these cards, but you have to have the right elements in order to play your cards. And there is a little bit of a rondel that kind of tracks the time and depends on what kind of magic you're allowed to collect, those elemental magics that you're allowed to collect turn to turn. And it's all dice drafting as well. There's card drafting and then there's dice drafting, and the dice really dictate what you're allowed to do. Play a card, get more energy, transmute your magic from one form of magic into another form of magic, and you're really trying this again. You're trying to find the combo. You're trying to find some synergy in the cards that you have drafted and the cards you acquired in order to gain the most victory points, which I believe are crystals in this game. And my goodness grace, and there's a lot of take that style of cards in here too, where you can play a card and it's going to affect the other players at the table style. So many good things that I could say about Seasons. It is one of my favorite games of all time, and there are 2 big expansions that are been harder to find as of recently: Path of Destiny and Enchanted Kingdom, which just add to the awesomeness of this game. And there's also extra mechanics that was introduced in Enchanted Kingdom. They added more of them into Path of Destiny, but they're of these kind of like these seer tokens that allow just kind of like extra combos that can be pulled off and extra abilities that you can equip to your summoners. And then there's been all of these promo cards that are really hard to find that I have not been able to track down for the life of me. I think I have Orb of Ragfield, and I believe I have the Crystal Titan, but that is, and I have Speedwall, but I don't have these other ones. So I would love to get my hands on them. And if they release them inside of a big box version for Seasons, I would be all over that. So, yes, my vote is for Seasons. Okay, my number 4. I think this is 4, 3, 2. Yeah. My number 4, which could have been number 5, would have actually been fit thematically. But another one of my favorite games of all time. I think there's been a little bit of a theme here. But my number 4 would be 5 Tribes. Now, this would actually be a very big surprise because Days of Wonder, this is, designed by Bruno Cathala. But Days of Wonder is known that I don't think they've released a big box version of any of their games. Really. This may be, if they were to do it, it would be the first. And there is a lot of material, 5 Tribes being kind of like a really unique, really lots of set collecting going on in this game. There's a market of cards. There are djinns that you can collect that give you special abilities. And really everything is based off of that Mancala style of movement where I grab all of the meeples from a tile and I'm going to move them by dropping 1 meeple at a time until I run out of meeples, and then wherever the place that I put the last meeple onto, I get to do some actions. I get to do the tile action, and then I get to take the action of the last meeple that I dropped on that tile. And then you kind of trying to figure out can there be AP in this game? Left, right, and center, trying to analyze the board state and trying to figure out what the next move. This has got a fantastic 2-player mode to it that I would agree that this is probably the best at 2 players. Oh, and BGG also agrees that this is best at 2 players. It is a fantastic experience. And it's got a lot of material that, and this game comes in and out of print all of the time. And so do the expansion materials. So if they were actually to come out with just one product, say, hey, when it comes back in, you can get 5 Tribes and you can get all the content that we've released for it so far, I do believe that this would fly. I think this would be a good seller. Let's take a look at the expansions that are here. There's some promo. There's promo djinns. There is the Whims of the Sultan. There's the Thieves of Nakala. There is the Artisans of Nakala. And Oh yeah, there's the artisans, the thieves, and the whims of the sultan. Those are the bigger expand. These two are the bigger ones. The thieves is kind of a smaller one, and then there's been some promo gins that have been come along the way, and this is totally like my 100% opinion. But the artisans, we don't play without that expansion ever. Once you play with it, you're gonna be like, yeah, we want to play with that one all of the time. It adds some extra really cool things without adding any complexity or the rule overset to the game. The whims we kind of throw in every now and then, does add a little bit of extra little bit of things, but not too over the top. And the thieves, yeah, we always just throw in the thieves all of the time for our game. So like these would just be no-brainers just to throw it all into one big box. It is quite a bear to try to organize everything inside of that box. With all of these things, just with the base game insert already. So I would like something bigger with a functional insert, and just give me all of these things, because I only have just the denim promo gin. I don't have Will Witt, and I definitely don't have Galbels. So I would love to get my hands on those. So 5 tribes. That's my number 4 pick. Okay, top 3 here. Top 3. One game that is beloved by lots of different gamers. It has got a ton of content, and it's readily available. All this content is readily available, but I would definitely like it all in one spot. And I'm surprised. Well, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but this is Orleans. I would believe would be a great candidate also for a big box treatment. It is being recently has been acquired in North America here to publish by Capstone Games. And we all know that Capstone Games just released that big box of Terra Mystica. So it's not out of the question. And I think Orleans would be a great addition to do this as well, because my, oh my, there is so much stuff to this game if you own everything, and that box is full. Holy Toledo, and it takes forever to set up and organize all of this stuff. Let's take a look at the expansion content that is here. There is promo tiles up the wazoo for this game. And then there are a couple of bigger expansions over there. There's the 5th player box, so you can make it 5 players right out of the get-go with a nice big box edition. There is the Trade and Intrigue expansion, which adds a lot of different variations. Like there's new boards that you can go up on. There's and things like that. There is kind of like a pick up and deliver mechanic that's introduced there. And then there's Orleans Invasion, which is a really big expansion. Adds a ton of content in there. There's special 2-player scenarios. There's a co-op scenario. There is competitive scenarios. There is, oh my goodness gracious. And then yes, there's all of these promo tiles that are so yeah, no brainer. Capstone Games, if you're listening to this, I really do think, and maybe comment in this video here. Do you think that Orleans, if they came out with a big box version, you're gonna buy this one, right? Right? There is the deluxe edition out there, but that doesn't have all of that extra stuff inside of one big gigantic. I would get. Actually, I would get it because I actually don't own the Invasion expansion as well. So I would definitely pick. I would definitely pick this one up if they came up with that. So Orleans. I didn't even talk about Orleans. I just kind of just assumed it's a bag building style of worker placement game where you're going to be acquiring new kind of workers, and you have to fill up slots on your own little player board. And as soon as a slot is full of certain types of workers, you're able to activate the actions. And oh my goodness gracious, it's so simple to that's what I said. You just draw workers, you program them in, and then as soon as the spot's full, you get to take the action. That's how simple the game is. But man, oh man, is there lots of things to consider on your turns and trying to accomplish all of these things, like moving your guy all around the countryside to pick up goods and get to certain places. And making sure you have the right number of make sure you have the right number of goods, or maybe you can have more knights so that you can draw more people. And oh my goodness, there's so many different paths to victory in this game, and all those tiles, the stacks of building tiles. Yeah. This one also would be a really good big box too, because you can get all the tiles can be printed from the same factory, because lots of the promo tiles are not printed in the same style or in the same coloring as the base game and the expansion stuff. So maybe there'll be an opportunity to get the color match all right again. I don't know. I'm just spitballing now. Okay, so Orleans, that's my number 3. My number 2 definitely, I think, would deserve a big box treatment. And again, it's a Days of Wonder game. And I know it's probably not going to happen, but darn it, I wish that this would happen. And that is Small World. Small World is the game that really kind of, killed Risk for me when I discovered that this game existed. Drafting a particular, fantasy race, along with a special ability, so the race has its own special ability, but then you can add on another special ability, and then they are yours for the foreseeable future until you kind of start running out of things that you can do with that race. So then you can, what they refer to as, go in decline, and then you get a new race with a new set of powers to continue the game on. And the game only goes over a set number of rounds. I want to say that's 9 rounds. It's been a little bit since I've played it. So you'll probably go through about 2 or 3 races throughout the course of a game. But man, they released so many expansion pieces to this one that added so many races and so many powers that I would love it if they housed it in all one spot. And there's even like little trays. There's storage trays for each of the races and powers out there on the Board Game Geek store. So you can even just have partner up. I think they're game trays. Partner up with game trays to make the functional insert to this thing, because look at the expansion material. Now, they did recently just kind of, threw the expansions into these things called power packs way back in 2017, which that was all great and dandy, but just if they would have just actually made these just one box, I think they probably would have done pretty good. But you know what? Let's put both of those things. That's all the little small expansions of all the races and powers in the. They created extra boards here, like the River World and the Sky Islands. You can throw all of that in. You can actually throw in this really hard to find 6-player board in there. You can throw in the Tunnels expansion if you wanted to do it. Now, this is another one. Like, you can throw in Realms into this thing. Like, this thing's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You can throw in the Necromancer Island. You can throw in the deck of cards, the Tales and Legends event deck into the. Look at all of this stuff. The leaders, you can throw in the look at all of these things that I would, stop everything, hold the presses. I'm going to go out and get this version. If they released a big box version of Small World that had all of those things in it, I think would be a great one, because it's a fun game. You're going to want to get these extra expansion packs with the races and the powers and all that. Anyways, let's just get it all into one big space. Small World. I want it. I want it bad. And then lastly, my number 1 pick that definitely needs a big box insert. And anytime that the big box editions topic comes up in any forums or discussions that I'm in, I always bring this one up, and that is Keyflower. Okay, designed by Sebastian Blesdale and Richard Breeze, published by Hutch Games. Man, Keyflower is one of those games. It plays so well at all of these different player counts. I have enjoyed this game at 2 players. I've enjoyed 4-player games. I've even enjoyed really long and heavy 6-player games. I've just enjoyed this one at all of these different player counts and everything like that. And it is so really cool and unique with the auctioning for the tiles. You have your meeples that you have to bid. They're different colors. And then once you are, then you gotta have, then you're building these tiles are actually like little buildings for your village or whatever that's called. And then you can use your workers not only just for auctioning, but then you're also trying to activate these tiles to produce some goods so that you can turn them into points. But you can also use the buildings that other people have built, but then that's at the cost that you're going to be giving them some meeples that they're going to be able to use for auctioning and activating their own tiles in future rounds and whatnot. And my goodness, there's so many things to love. There's also ways that you have to move resources around so that they actually score you points. Lots of different things. This is a very, very cool game, and I have played with the expansion contents of this game. There are two kind of bigger expansions. There is the Merchants expansion, and I want to also say that's the Farmers expansion. Really add some really new layers to the gameplay. They're really, really fun, but also there is all of these other tiles that are really hard to find. These promo tiles that have just come out so many different ways over the courses of the years that, you know what, it would be hands down a fantastic thing if they could throw this all into one box, organize the tiles by their sets and whatnots, the boat tiles and all the other things. I would spend all of my monies, all of them, to purchase a copy of Keyflower if it came in a nice big box version. Not too big. It doesn't have to be a great big one. From what I gather, a lot of people can fit most of the content already in that base game size box. So if it was just a little bit, kind of like what the Terra Mystica box did, just a little bit bigger with a proper insert, could fit all of this stuff, and I would gladly decide to go on this one. So that is my number one game that I think deserves a big box treatment. All right, that's the end of the list. So what do you think of my ideas for games that deserve big box style treatments? Leave a comment on this video. Do you agree with any of them? Are there any ones that I missed? I already got one in my brain here that I know I missed that I probably should have put on this list, but you know what? It's getting a little late here. I do have a couple of honorable mentions here. I know one definitely for sure what the honorable mention would have been Race for the Galaxy. Just, being able to house all of the expansions into one box. And even if they just kind of released, a Race for the Galaxy plus the first set of expansions, kind of like that first arc, that story that they were trying to tell. I think Race for the Galaxy would have had be a nice addition to a big box treatment. I also had in here Seven Wonders. Would probably also be make an argument that it could have a nice big box edition with all of its numerous content and promo leaders and whatnots that have all come out around the way. I have also said something like maybe Cosmic Encounter could use a big box. Now that would be a very big box, very heavy, of lots of different alien races. It would be actually very overwhelming if somebody were to buy the big box version of that and have all of the alien races right from the get-go. It would be pandemonium and chaotic, but I think it would be a lot of fun. And another one that I don't have very much, but I think it would maybe be an interesting one would be Cyclades. Area control style game that has had a lot of different expansion content that has released that I know that people speak highly of. I have not played with them, but I think that they would actually be okay. All right, folks. Those are my thoughts on games that need to have a big box version. Please let me know what you think and what you would consider a good game to have a big box, get the big box treatment. I've been Ryan of Mr. Owl's Gaming Rants and Reviews, and I'm going to remind you again to subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying the content that I'm producing. Hit the notification bell so that you get notified when new videos arrive. And with that, I'm going to officially say that this rant, this top 10 games that need a big box edition video, over.